master's, or even a bachelor's degree. But organizations like Ethiopia Reads and Giving Hope to Kids Like Me are the types of foundations that is set to make them happen. And my name is Helen Kassa. I'm a sophomore at Prospect High School. I'm the president of the San Jose NAACP Youth Chapter, education chair for the NAACP California and Hawaii region, and CEO and founder of Giving Hope to Kids Like Me. Many years ago, I asked the wise man, how do you know when you have found your passion? He started off by telling me a story. He said, there was once a young boy who asked the same question as you did. His mentor said, when you find it, you will know. The boy was unsatisfied with that answer, and he said, no, tell me, I want to be successful, and I want to find my passion. So his mentor said, okay, meet me at the beach tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And the boy did as he said. He showed up in a nice suit, dress shoes, and a briefcase. So the man said, okay, take your shoes off and leave your briefcase here and go into the water. So the boy did so. Then the man said, go deeper into the water. Then the boy continued to go deep. By the time the man said stop, he was now nose deep, bopping up and down for air, just trying to breathe. Then the man came up to him, grabbed his head and started drowning him. The boy was fighting, pushing, screaming, just to get back up for that last breath of air. Then the man released him, and he said, what was that for? And the man said, what were you thinking about when I was drowning you? The boy said, I was thinking about breathing, trying to get that last breath of air. And the man said, good, because that is how you should feel when you have found your passion. That is how you should feel when you are on your journey to success. That story has stuck with me for a very long time. Growing up, I always had a hard time finding something that I was really passionate about. My parents put me in all kinds of things, like dance, art, music, karate, basketball, swimming, cooking, knitting, crocheting. The list went on and on. Everything and anything, they put me in it. And they were always frustrated because I would always tell them, you know, this is just not for me. So when I was young, my grandma was like my mentor. She would teach me all kinds of things. She was like my best friend. Whenever I needed anything, I would come to her. There were two main things that she taught me. Number one, education is important. And number two, always give back to your people, but stay humble. So as a child, all I heard were cliches like study hard, focus in school, but I never actually understood the weight of what those things meant. But when my grandma died of leukemia in 2007, I began to reflect on the short 8 years I had with her. So when we went to Ethiopia for the funeral, to keep me away from the darkness and the blackness of morning, my mom and my uncle took me out on a drive. And on that drive, in the middle of traffic, I saw kids around my age, between the ages of 8 to 13, walking around selling gum and candy, knocking on car windows. And as, naive little me, I asked my mom, hey, are those the bad kids in school? Are they ditching? Because this was in the middle of January, around like 9 or 10 in the morning. And my mom gave me a serious look and she explained to me, no, Helen, those are the breadwinners of the family. Those are the kids trying to make money so they can support their family because maybe their parents can't do so. Maybe some of those kids don't even have a home, and they probably can't even afford school supplies. And the last thing that she said to me was, you know, Helen, not all kids are as lucky as you are. So, and there, in that moment, I had found my passion. I felt the spark. I heard my grandma repeatedly telling me, number one, education is important. And number two, always give back to your people, but stay humble. So I told my mom and my uncle, hey, I want to do something. And they looked at me like, oh, how cute, you're 8. What could you possibly do? But then they turned back and actually looked at my face and saw the seriousness in my eyes and the pain and the passion coming from my voice. So from that moment on, we began to brainstorm. When I came back to the States with my mom, we tried crowdfunding. And it was extremely difficult because not too many people expected much out of me. It was just like I was 8 years old. What could I possibly achieve? So I was brushed off, ignored, and laughed at, and told to think smaller. But it was my passion that got me through all of those difficulties. So on my first trip, I raised about enough money to buy school supplies like pencils, notebooks, and erasers for 2,100 students in a rural city called Bowie, and the school was called Bowie Elementary School. But after 2 years of trying to raise money, I found out that my education has value. It's not just a cliche. The value of books, the values of learning, goes beyond just what your parents say. It goes beyond just making money, and it goes beyond having a career. So after that trip, I was 9 years old when I did that first trip to Bowie Elementary School. The feeling I had was amazing. So I felt the sense of community, love, and culture. So I decided to go again. By my second trip, I was 11, and it had started a merit-based scholarship in the school. The beauty of that scholarship is that it created competition in the school, academic competition. The scholarship takes care of the students until they finish the 12th grade, but if their grades drop, they can lose their scholarship to another deserving student. That year, I also donated 10 blackboards and sports equipment. I then made a third trip. And on that third trip, I was 13 and had a science lab built so that the students of Bowie Elementary School could have the opportunity to experience hands-on learning and STEM. You know, Nelson Mandela once said that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. It is educated people that make differences in the world. It is not fair that some students are born 10 steps behind everyone else. When a child believes that all they can be is a farmer or someone just making it by, that is when you know that there is a problem. When a child's main priority is helping their family, and that is when you know that there is a problem. Poverty should not be the reason for anyone to be uneducated. Organizations like this are the voice for those who are afraid to speak. A lot of people ask me, what is the difference between your organization and many others that come to help Ethiopia? And I answer simply, because everyone else is focused on just giving the schools materials, but forget that people do not want to be pitied. People want to be seen as people who can grow. They want to be seen as people. They don't want to be seen as guinea pigs or test subjects to see what kinds of things can help develop a community and help them grow. So, giving hope to kids like me, the goal is to spark some kind of passion in the students, to motivate them to take whatever tools that they have and make something out of it, just like the Ethiopia Reads program. With books comes exploration. A child without the freedom of imagination is not a child, but rather a lost soul. Books open gateways for the youth. Children are curious creatures with a hunger for learning and discovery. A lot of kids may not have the opportunity to experience things firsthand, but I feel that reading books is a close second. So I close with this quote by William Penn. I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good thing that I can do or any kindness I can show to any fellow human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect, for I shall not pass this way again. Thank you all for doing good for children of Ethiopia and supporting Ethiopia Reads.